Dean here. Dean 78904 if you want to get all technical. 5 o'clock on the East Coast. It's not 2+ hours of nonstop MLB DFS conversation because the slate starts early today. It's kind of a small one. Of course, plenty of games going on right now. Some games are already finished. Split slate day on a Wednesday. 6:40 is first pitch. It is a 6-gamer. It's really, really straightforward on paper. The Braves, once again, they're still in Colorado at 13.5. Completely absurd, completely ridiculous total. As far as that game, I believe the Braves total is above 8. It is. Pitching is kind of few and far between. A couple good pitchers going at it there in Miami. Garrett Cole as well, but it's, we live in the world of a salary cap. Garrett Cole, Braves can't get them all. To help us figure out what to prioritize, it's a head chopper. Chop, it's just the two of us, man. It's an intimate show. I feel like, I didn't look at the schedule for next month. I feel like you're probably pivoting toward football. Is this kind of sort of is this your swan song? I don't know as far as baseball.
I hope so.
Is this tell me how you really feel, Chop.
I mean, busy week with college football and stuff. So been grinding some shows all day, Dean, and I don't know. I don't think the schedule for next month is up, but would not.
It should be. It's the 30th. It's not up yet.
Would not hurt my feelings if this were my last MLB show, but I got a feeling I'll be on some more. But it's all good. We're here. We're gonna break it down, and should be fun, Dean. Lots of stuff going on, Dean. Lots of stuff. First of all, man, I wish producer Steve. I gave him no warning here, no warning at all. Hopefully, by the time I'm talking, he can Google that situation with Ronald Acuna in Coors Field the other night with the fans. I'd love to see a clip of that if he can somehow muster up enough time to get that for us. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I'd like to go over that one real quick. But, I'm sitting here. My phone is blowing up, Dean. Like every 2 minutes, man, I'm getting an alert from Underdog and drafters to take my pick. And my slow drafts have now turned into fast drafts. Like, unbeknownst to me, they're going to speed the clock up on things. So it's rough. Look at this, Dean. You see this video right here?
Well, what's interesting about it is I think it's like 3 different people came from 3 different locations. Did they coordinate this, or were they all independent of each other? Or typically it's like one idiot friend and the other idiot friend, whatever. They'll just all kind of.
When I first saw this, you know what I thought, Dean? You know what this reminded me of?
The Naked Gun scene with Reggie Jackson?
No, this reminded me of, this is what Discord is like when Dean hits his dong 6 days in a row, man. That's Discord trying to get to Dean. It's crazy.
I got bad news for you, Chop.
You ended the streak last night?
The streak is over. Yeah, the streak is over. We're gonna have to start a new one.
Man. It was a good streak. I can't tell you. I gotta give you your props, man. That was quite the dong fest you went on right there.
There are no knockers, but we're just trying to compete with the knockers and the Spidey bombs and the Juggalo bombs. We'll get Juggalo bombs later. I know your boy Kirkwood is on later. I think it's Dave Potts as well. I'm fairly certain it's Cheese is Good. Of course, Chief of Routes is Kevin Roth all over that as well. Don't think there's anything precipitation-wise, right? Like last I checked, let's see if there's an update. I think Roth's pretty much in the clear. It looks like we're pretty good. What was the number? What was the total in the Chicago game today? Because I know the winds were blowing in pretty furiously. Looks like it's a low-scoring game. Did you happen to play the early slate or dabble in it, or not so much? You said you're doing shows. What were you doing? College football stuff?
College football, yeah. And no, I didn't. I did not partake in the early, so I have no idea what was going on with the weather. Now, Kirkwood's in chat. He's feeling better. That's good. He was sick for a couple of days, but he does. This catches my eye. It says, funny the streak ended after cheating accusations. What is he talking about? Did you cheat, Dean? Did you get accused of cheating?
So TJ made some reckless accusation. I mean, if I were to speculate, it's probably because maybe his Spidey bombs weren't at the appropriate attention that they are, typically would, because all of a sudden the dongs were taking him over. Just a speculation on my part. But he was making this reckless accusation that I was claiming dongs for something I never actually said that were my players, which, I mean, I've been doing this for so many years. You think I would put my so-called reputation on the line for that? Is that risk versus reward? Why would I do that? That's an outrageous claim. And now, just floating it out there, there's no take. You can't put the toothpaste out of the out of the two, the barn and the horse, you know how that works. Right now, people just, oh, well, there's like a 10% chance that maybe it's true. There's probably like a 1% chance that I messed up, but I don't think so. I'm fairly certain I didn't.
Yeah, that's how I feel with the Astros. It's like get accused of stuff that's not true, but it is what it is.
Well, I think those are two different situations, and one is probably a little more distinctly worse than the other. I think it's pretty clear.
In whose eyes, Dean? It's eye of the beholder, brother. Let's move on, though. It's a new day. It's a new day. We move on. No cheat. You didn't cheat. Astro didn't cheat. We're good. We're good, Dean.
Well, I mean,
how's your best balls going, Dean? Dean, it's best ball time of year right now, brother. Everybody's packing them in.
Dude, I mean, I know people don't want to hear best ball takes. People hate best ball takes. They mute people on Twitter for it. And we're going to talk about the slate in a second. And it's just a 6-gamer. We will knock it all out. Whatever's on your mind, whatever you want to talk about in regards to the slate, by all means, fire away as far as those questions. But you know what I find is strange? And by the way, I've been doing most of my best ball stuff on drafters. I like underdog, but I always feel like I'm one player short, and I understand that's kind of the point, right? You got to really thread the needle on things that they go perfect and whatever. I like the 2 extra picks. I think I'm good in round 19 and round 20. I think I'm better than most. I think that's one of the edges I have. I also like that it's I don't care about this week 17 nonsense, Chop. Like, first of all, you got to get there. It's all this. I understand the strategy for it, but getting there is kind of important too, right? Probably more important than what players you have available for week 17. And who knows who's going to be healthy and whatever. But Drafters doesn't play it out that way. This is not a sponsor for Drafters, by the way, but I believe I know we have a promo code on the sites. I think Spike Week has one. Maybe it's Spike. Maybe producer Steve can go ahead and drop it in there. But they're also going to overlay their main contest, most likely, almost definitely. It's currently like barely more than half full. And on certain weekends, they'll just say, hey, look, if you go ahead and draft 20 teams, that's kind of an undertaking, but we'll give you like 3 or 4 more tickets. I'm like, okay, I'll just keep firing on drafters. And that's where I've been playing mostly. So I've enjoyed it. This is the very first time I've done best ball seriously. And the other thing is, Chop, is that I am taking big stands, and I notice other people are not doing that. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I have like 40% Sam Howell. I have like 40% Mims, which is an outrageous number. But like, if it works out, it's spectacular. Is that something you're doing too, or is that just me? Am I on an island?
I don't do it on purpose, but I have my mind is set on certain players, on some players that I think are going to overperform this year, and they just kind of fall that way, and I can't help but to take them, Dean. So,
who are those players?
Well, I could tell you right now, of the best balls that I've done on underdog, my exposure right now, ouch. 58% Sam Howell, 63% Deuce Vaughn, 53 Nico Collins, 53 Mike Williams, 48 Darren Waller, 48 Tank Dell. Interesting.
I got a ton of them too. Like, it's round 16, 17, whatever it may be. The interesting one that jumped to me, because you're a Dallas fan. What's your percentage of Pollard? Obviously, he's tougher to get. You have to be in a certain spot for him, essentially.
Let me look down the list here. So of all the drafts I've done so far, Tony Pollard, I have him in 10%, and that's just because he just fell to me at the right spot. I'm just
a little more than average, 8% average.
I don't like him underdog is 100%. He's going to be taking in 100% of the league team.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're going to have 8% of the players that are taking 100% of the time. 8 times 12.
Okay.
You have slightly more than the field.
Let's just say that as far as Pollard, where he's typically drafted, I haven't drafted him one time. But when he was falling earlier in the summertime, I mean, it was a point to where I probably couldn't pass it up. But I don't like him as much as everybody else this year. There's just too much negative that could happen with him to be taken that high. I don't know. I just like the other guys around him about the time when he gets taken.
I'll just throw a couple more out. I have James Cook at 35%, mostly like when he was like round 8 or 9 or whatever, not where he's at right now. Like I said, Mims at 35, and Kenny Pickett. I'm a buyer in the Pittsburgh offense this year. Kenny Pickett, I got at 35%, and Jalen Warren at 32%. So I'm all about Pittsburgh this year, which feels weird, but I'm in on Pickett taking a step forward in that offense just in general. But anything else that we should say best ball wise? I know it's not a best ball show, and the people are probably going to hate this to some degree. But zero Jonathan Taylor, by the way. Boss Bro is asking. Come on. I don't want to take the victory lap on that one, but that was just a big. I didn't want any part of that nonsense. Did you have any Jonathan Taylor?
No, I mean maybe like back in July, I grabbed a couple with Taylor, but I haven't really been on Taylor. And now it's just there's some shenanigans, Dean, and I think there's going to be more shenanigans from other guys too. Watch out now. Like, I tweaked my ankle. You put me on the IR for 4 weeks. Some running back. I just think there's a group of them that are fed up with the way they're being treated, and they may take the matter into their own hands. So you got to be careful.
It stinks for them, right? But what's their leverage is the question, and they don't really have it, unfortunately. But they're just super replaceable, and that's just the way it is. It's obviously in comparison to your teammates, right? Did you see Pat McAfee talking about Jonathan? Like, McAfee is an excellent broadcaster, very, very good, very talented, good at what he does. Saying that the Taylor for Waddle was like a fair deal, like that's not an outrageous trade. Like, it's just strange that they, so close to the game. He knows more about football than I ever will, but it's just so odd that he thinks that that's like totally normal. I don't know if you saw this trade rumor. Did you catch that by chance?
I did not, and that doesn't sound too good for Miami. It just I don't.
No,
I don't see that. I don't think.
I don't
think that's going to work. But I didn't catch that one. But I mean, they're good backs. There are backs who are better than others, and they help the offense, substantially more than an average running back. But yeah, man, you just can't pay them. I'm okay with. I'm on board with the whole. Franchise tag them for a year, let them play for 11, 12 million. That's a pretty good chunk of change. I don't mind the 1 year. If they want to take a 1 year deal, even maybe a 2 year deal, fine. But when you start talking about 3+ years for a running back, that's where can't go that route. And you should have never taken them in the first or second round anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah. Hoosier saying Banners, who I assume based upon the name is well aware of the Colts. And do they only keep 3 receivers? Is it just Pierce, Pittman, and Downs? And I think they have like 5 tight ends, but supposedly Woods might be thrown on the IL, apparently. I didn't draft any of their tight ends, but yeah, it's probably going to be annoying trying to figure out who to pair with Richardson if you want to do that. Okay, let's talk baseball. Let's talk tonight's 6-gamer chop. Again, super straightforward. The Braves are in Coors. They have a team total of 8. There's a couple of games that are just, pretty meh. Several games are like that, basically. We have a 4K pitcher on DK, Daniel Reyes, throwing baseballs for the Mets. Not very good, but he's 4K, and he's throwing baseballs in a professional environment. He's been trained to do so. And you never know. BABIP can be on his side. It's a great ballpark to throw baseballs in. And what do you really need of this dude? Like, the opportunity cost at pitcher is not that high, I don't think, unless you get, like, an elite game out of Cole and an elite game out of Luzardo and Eflin. And then, like, if you're pairing those two together, what does your offense look like? That's pretty tricky to make work. It's tough, right? And Cole looks good, but the Ks are kind of down this year. But, like, efficiency, innings, all that, he should be good against Detroit this season. But, again, it is cost. I did make a lineup on Fanduel before the show with Cole, and I got 4 Braves. Not the ones I want necessarily. And it looked okay, but, you can't have everything. Give me your screenshot. What are you looking at as far as tonight's slate? Any specific plan or strategy that you think is going to separate you from the field?
Dean, it's really tough on a little 6-gamer like this to like have some kind of unique strategy. The only thing I can tell you is that my plan is, even though there's Garrett Cole on the table and Jesus Luzardo, and I love Zach Eflin most times, I'll probably be underweight on them, and I will definitely be overweight on these cheaper guys. And almost no, except for Kyle Freeland, might be the only pitcher I like mark off of and Darius Vines. We'll talk about him later, but just X off the course field pitchers. Everybody else is probably in play for me. And just as a strategy to get as much Braves as I can. Like I'm running 50 lineups tonight. And I think my strategy right now is have multiple Braves in every lineup, and just be done and let it chips fall where they may with the pitching, and just hope you can get like one guy in there, whoever that guy is. Hope that one guy that's cheap delivers a pretty big game.
So we're looking at 44% Garrett Cole, and you can make Cole in like one of the cheapies work, but you can kind of middle it. Luzardo's getting 30% against Tampa. F1 on the other side's getting 24%. So like people are probably taking one of those three, probably not pairing the both of them, and then pairing them with the following: Andre Jackson, who's probably my favorite, and I use that term loosely. 5'4" in Kansas City, good ballpark, pretty good K rate as well. Not going to go a ton of innings, but 80 pitches we're expecting. And again, just to kind of make everything else work, if you could put up a 12, right? Like you'll take a 12. You'll be thrilled with a 12, right? At these 5 or 6K players, I imagine 12 would work for you, Chop.
Every slate's different, but tonight I think that would be fine with me. Yeah.
Reyes, we're looking at 60 straight 4K. He is stretched out 90 pitches. We did see Buck Showalter, the coach of the Mets, the manager, I suppose I should say, coach for some reason in football, manager in baseball, and wearing the uniforms. We're still doing that in 2023, Chop. Like, it's so silly, isn't it? Like, it's Halloween every day. Why?
For the coaches? Manager? Why?
It's
why not, dude? What do you want them to wear?
Would you want to see Bill Belichick with shoulder pads on the sideline? Like,
that's different. That's different, Dean. That's not equipment. Dumb. Dean, that's football is equipment, protective equipment. Baseball is just clothing. What do you want Buck Showalter in a bow tie? And like, that would be the silliest thing. Like, these guys are spitting everywhere.
I'm not throwing a bow tie.
And dip flying out everywhere. You want these guys in a nice suit in the dugout, Dean? Come on, man.
Am I wrong? Did this happen during the COVID period, or didn't the managers start wearing like just kind of athletic gear in the dugout? Is that just stopped? Or maybe they're doing. Maybe they're now. It's a choice. Is it a choice now? I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, tank top. I want to see Buck Showalter in a tank top. Yeah, sure. Why not? But wait, Chopper, is that you in chat? Because I don't think it is. There's somebody that says head chopper. And it says Dean is never wrong. So I'm confused.
Gracious. No, hold on.
No, keep that person there. That's a legitimate comment.
I'm just letting everybody know that is not me. That is, man, what is going on here, Dean? There's another guy who has the thing, Chop is never wrong. These are not my burners. These are not my burners, man. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it, though.
We have an imposter, it appears. I don't know what they should wear, but I know they shouldn't be wearing the uniform. Is all I'm saying. It's really silly. But in the spikes and the pants, come on, what are we doing? Yeah, but there's got to be something else, a compromise of some sort. Okay, this is the things I'm derailing the show on a 6-gamer slate. Reyes is getting 18%. Dunning is getting 16%. Joey Wentz, 11%. Papillo, one of my favorite names, is saying all baseball. He's back throwing baseballs for the Dodgers. They lost Tony Gonsolin. Man, that team is just losing pitchers. Are they going to have? They're going to have Buehler back, right? Isn't that the plan at some point? Hopefully, at least I think Buehler at least wants to come back. I'm not sure if he's on track or not, but they can certainly use him. And then there's Brandon Pfaadt, who actually looked pretty good his last outing until I think he fell apart a little bit at the end. But he's shown moments. Obviously, the Dodgers are tough. And you said there's one pitcher you're not considering, and I guess that will be Freeland. Freeland is getting 1%. Yeah. Leverage, I suppose. He's not the worst pitcher in the world, and, BABIP, yada, yada. Last night, the Braves only scored 3 runs. They hit several balls right in the warning track. Acuna, dead center, just didn't quite get there. I think Ozuna took one to the right field, just didn't quite get there. These things happen. But you said you're running out 50 lineups, and you're having 11 pitchers in the pool. Is that correct? Zerpa?
I think I want to get rid of the Coors Field pitchers.
Yeah.
So Freeland, because I can't take Freeland if I'm gonna have Braves in every lineup. I can't take the pitcher anyway, so I don't want to do that. And then this Darius Vines character, I just looking at. There's a lot of red flags there. This is major league debut and just the minor league stuff. There's some red flags, and then you throw him into Coors Field right away. Nah, I don't like that one. So I'm getting rid of those 2 guys. The other 10, sure. Do I want to go with Angel Zerpa? No. But 6 games, I want the Braves, and honestly, there's 3 pitchers I feel pretty good about. up at the top, and they're hard to get to. So other than that, I don't think I might not even lose that much, even if those guys don't perform great. These cheaper guys. So yeah, I mean, I'll take a shot on the Zerpa, and even like we're looking for a team like the Yankees. Like, I don't want to say gutless, that's Kirk's thing, but a team who's kind of shut down and all that. By the way, Dean, I have a question.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that if you get put on waivers, you're done with that team. I thought Harrison Bader got put on waivers. Was I imagining that?
I think the rules are you're kind of in limbo and that you're still playing for them, but another team can claim you, and then I think they can sort of trade for you. If I'm not mistaken, either they can claim you and maybe work out a trade. I think is kind of the deal. I think that's how waivers work. But you'd think I would be on top of that, but yeah, I think that's how it works. It doesn't mean like you're gone. Basically, you're letting other teams know they're available if they want them, and there's like a list, a priority list as far as who can claim, and I think it goes by record. I want to say like the worst team, or maybe it's like a rolling. Like if you claim somebody, you go to the bottom. That might be how it goes.
I know that. I just thought that if once you got put on waivers, then if you didn't get claimed, whatever could happen. But otherwise, you were done with that team, and I was surprised to see him in the lineup. But the point being here, the Yankees are fully, tanking.
Terrible.
They're done. They're cooked. And so maybe you get lucky on some of these teams like this that just don't have much to play for and have given up on the season. And you catch one of these cheap pitchers and just give me five innings, enough to qualify for a win. Let your team build a little lead before you leave the game and just do okay. And maybe that's the key. Like I said, every slate is different, Dean. And if the Braves go out there and score 8 runs tonight, and it's a solid game for them, but Garrett Cole and Zach Eflin crush the rest of the field pitching, well, then that's going to tell you that the slate's going to be, well, if I took Cole and Eflin and just pieced together my hitting, I'd be fine. Like every slate's so different, anything could happen. But right now, the cheaper guys, I'm hoping to get something out of the cheaper guys and load up on the expensive Braves.
So let's have an experiment, right? Let's talk about this because Cole and Eflin, we click both those names on DK. We now have 3-6 per remaining. So let's build the lineup, or let's build what stack are we doing? Are we going 1-1-1-1? Like you can't make a Braves lineup. You can have a Braves like one off, maybe two Braves. You certainly can't have Acuna. You throw Acuna in there, and then all of a sudden we're at 3-1. We're kind of buried. So what could you build with that? You're saying you're making 50 lineups, and I assume you're using with an optimizer. Do you think any of your lineups popped up, Cole and Eflin, or probably not?
No, they're not going to. The optimizers aren't going to pop that up because the Braves are going to be projected so high, and the optimizers typically don't. Like the bat projections typically aren't going to give you the two of the most expensive pitchers anyway. It's going to give you the guy who's projected so much higher, which is Cole, and they're going to pair Cole. The optimizer is going to pair Cole with, a mid-range guy who's jumping off projections, whoever that might be. Tonight, it looks like it's probably Dane Dunning or something. I don't know how to run the optimizer, but a guy like that, Dunning or.
What do you mean you don't have to run? Just click build. That's all you got to do. And you can tinker with it if you want, or you can just use the settings. You don't have to do this.
I know. I haven't done it today, Dean. I haven't done it with the fresh projections. I mean, I'm not into that right now. I'm not that far.
You don't know how to do it. I'm sorry.
No, I know how to. I haven't done. Yeah. I said I haven't done it today, so I don't know what. But typically, it's not gonna. It never gives me like 2 expensive pitchers. So no, I don't think it's gonna go Cole Eflin. I think it's probably gonna jam Braves in and go Cole with a cheap pitcher. So I don't know, but yeah, I don't know.
By the way, Vines for the Braves. I don't know if he pissed off the organization or what, but the 35th prospect in the organization, he was ranked 13th coming into the year. The update as of June, according to Fangraphs, he's down to 25 or so. Not much on the fastball, just not a soft landing spot. This is a weird place to start their career. I don't know how much of a pinch Atlanta's in, but I know the Rockies stink, obviously, but he doesn't look very good is the overall point, but he is super cheap. I am running some lineups now. Just I put some, I tinker with it a little bit. I added some positive and some negative to kind of, give me a different mix. I capped it at 73%. I don't know why I picked that number, but that's what we picked. Yeah, the hitting range, the pitching range, I messed with like 12% and 14%. The overall team randomness at 18%. Let's see what comes up. Let's see if anybody actually hits the cap. One hitter hits the cap, actually, Chop. It's an Atlanta Brave. Which Brave is it? Which Brave hits the cap on DK?
I would say, not knowing who it is, but just looking at the salaries, it's got to be
understanding positions.
Is it Ozuna?
It's not Ozuna. Ozuna came in at let's see, where did Ozuna come in at? Probably one of the more popular outfielders, I imagine. Just 8%, which seems odd.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't know then. I don't know. They're all so expensive, Dean. I don't know. It's not Travis d'Arnaud, is it?
No, it's second base. Ozzy Albies. Albies is the guy that hit the cap.
Yeah, 5,900. Yeah. Okay. It's interesting. 5,900. I mean, yeah, I don't know about that one.
Well, I mean, probably gets 5 ABs and cores. Great ballpark for doubles and triples. He can.
No, I mean, I know what the projection says, but if it's an Atlanta Brave for 400 more, my favorite is Austin Riley on the night. So I get it. Projections do what they do, but just as a guy doing it, eyeballing it, I kind of like Austin Riley a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the other part of that is that third base has better alternatives than second base as like an overall pivot, that kind of situation as well. Peraza is actually the most popular third baseman at 49%, Riley at 41%. So he's obviously popular as well. Pitching wise, nobody is fully prioritized, but Garrett Cole did come in at 59%. Luzardo at 39%, Andre Jackson at 32%, Reyes at 31%. And again, it's not an endorsement of Reyes. It's just what he can do for you. Our projection of Reyes is in the single digits. We're projecting 9.8 fantasy points for Reyes, and that's good enough. Oh, and I meant to say, before I went on my rant about managers wearing uniforms in 2023, Showalter said that Carlo Carrasco on 3 days rest, who's terrible, is available to come out of the bullpen tonight. So if Reyes kind of hiccups, right? If you want to bet on that and you want to bet on Texas, and Texas is certainly going to be behind the Braves, you're going to get Reyes, you're going to get Carrasco, and this Mets bullpen, the current roster for the Mets is bottom 5 in both WRC Plus and Sierra, and I think Woba as well. I was looking at this stuff before the show, and the Mets, I know the ballpark stinks, but you're locked in for 9 against whatever Reyes is, Carrasco, who's dust. And probably again, if it's going poorly, if it's like 9-2 in the 7th, you're not facing the Mets' best relievers. To spoiler, like Texas is my favorite. That's the team I want to get over on. We'll talk about stacks soon enough. And I'm the only one, actually myself, and somebody else who's super, super sharp, SquirrelPatrol, ranked Texas as his second favorite stack. But otherwise, Chop, you didn't rank Texas. Egregious. Did I sell you on Texas? Are you now thinking having some second thoughts when it comes to the Rangers against Reyes, Carrasco, that bullpen?
I mean, Texas is fine. I'm just, for my 5, I know we're going to probably go over it a little bit more, but my 5, I had a few of these teams really locked in that I was not going to leave off the list. Then there was the Dodgers. Texas or the Dodgers. I got to favor the Dodgers just a little bit, and then I wanted a sleeper on there that we'll talk about later. But Texas is fine. I could replace 3 of my teams with Texas. 2 of my teams are locked in 100%. I really like them a lot. The other 3 I could replace with Texas. Was a fringe to me, but I only got 5 spots. I got to do what I got, because the survey, Dean, when you do the survey, it asks you for a lower owned stack that you might be playing. So I marked that down, and I put that in my top 5 because my mind's already in that range. But Texas is good. Texas is good, Dean.
The survey is always tricky when it's like, what low-owned stack do you like? And it's like, it's a 4-game slate. There's nobody hiding here, and anybody that's actually halfway decent is going to get someone. I never really know how to answer that question, because it's just like, I'm not going to write up the worst team, but I don't want to be super obvious.
Well, you should say that to him, Dean. You should that's what we got Slack for. Get up in there and say, guys, let's reword this. This is not a good question. Reword. I've done that before, Dean, and they've changed it. They're open to listening to your opinion.
You got pull around here, though, Chop.
Dean, you hit You rode six dongs, 6 nights in a row, Dean. You got some pull around here now, brother.
And you got the knockers. Do you have some knockers on a 6-gamer? I assume you must.
No doubt about Dean, whatever your name is. It is never a bad night for some knockers. Never.
By the way, Head Chopper in chat says we love Dean's opinion. There you go. So Head Chopper has quickly become one of my favorite chatters. I feel like we're in like Inception or something. It's really tripping me out a little bit. But by the way, if you guys are hanging out in chat, kindly hit that like button, do subscribe, turn those notifications, do all those things. Also, oh yeah, this is what I wanted to mention. Props and Pick'em package that is now live. And in order to celebrate that, we're going to celebrate it, Chop. We're going to run a little giveaway. There's a tweet. I'm going to go ahead and drop this tweet in chat for the people if they're not aware. It tells you very, very simply how to make yourself eligible. Giving away 3 monthly passes to the Props and Pick'em package. Say that 3 times fast. The rules are very simple. Follow the account, retweet the tweet. Very, very easy. And I dropped it in the YouTube chat as well. There you go. Get yourself eligible for 1 month free of the Props and Pick'em package, which again, that is now live. Are you a part of that? I think you are. I assume you're getting out some picks, right?
I don't know. I don't know what I do around here anymore, Dean.
Do you not write up picks for Scores and Odds? On occasion? College football, maybe?
Occasionally I do. I don't know. Oh, okay. My goodness. I was trying to do some investigative work while you were talking, and I went to Head Chopper's page on YouTube, and it's interesting, Dean. He's been a member of YouTube since 2015. So this is not just like a dude who fired up a fake email today and got on here. He's put some work into this thing, Dean. So
he's playing the long game. He's eight years later, he's emerged. He's got a beard.
This is bizarre, man. Bizarre, but I don't know.
A quick shout out for the first college football bet win of the year.
I got a couple more. I got a couple more up this week, so we'll see if we can ride the momentum. But I do a few picks in college football and just trying to dabble in whatever.
Tomorrow night, Chop? Who plays tomorrow night?
Oh, the UCF is playing, Dean. They're only minus like 30, so it should be a win for them. Good for you.
Are you going to cover though? That's.
Are you close enough to the campus to where you can go and watch a game every once in a while?
I'll probably. I have some friends that are going to be up there at least once or twice this year. I'm about 3 hours away, so it's up in Orlando. By the way, hopefully everybody is doing well with the hurricane and staying as safe as possible. I'm down here in South Florida. Got super lucky, just some water, but I think it's running its way or on its way to run its way up the East Coast. I saw a friend of mine's old house was underwater, so they were, it's a weird victory lap. Or like, I'm glad I sold that a year ago. I'll be up there. The bounce house, as they call it there. Is it still called the Bright House Stadium? I'm not sure. I assume it is at UCF, but a fun place to catch a game. Is hopefully it's not too hot because there's not a lot of coverage from the sun, and we don't like the sun, Chop, as you can imagine. The sun is scary and it's hot, and I'm very pale, so just a few minutes out there and it's trouble for me. It's bad news. How about yourself? Do you catch any games live? What are you around? Texas, obviously, tons of football. But what are you around? What's around San Antonio? There's a San Antonio team, but
the only games I want to catch are University of Houston. So I did get them when they came to San Antonio last year, and I could make the road trip if it falls on the right day. Like this year, they got a Thursday night game against West Virginia in October. I might make that little road trip down I-45, I-10 and get to that game. I'm not going to sit here and go to UTSA football games or anything like that on a Saturday.
Jimmy has an incredible question. Who would have been the better DFS player, Babe Ruth or Ty Cobb? Ruth hit a bunch of homers, and especially wasn't there that year where Ruth he hit more home runs in the entire league, right? Wasn't there a season when that happened? So he was basically a cheat code. I think that happened one season. So
Dean, I'm gonna say probably overall Ty Cobb, because Babe Ruth would have got the Shohei treatment when he pitched and hit. Like you couldn't roster him here when he pitched, so you're kind of out of luck on some of those days. Ty Cobb, you get him every game, and he's like batting 400, 450, and so I don't know. It's a good question though.
Yeah, but this is you like the Triple G play, like the Larissa Rise types that hit singles. I mean that's why you like Ty Cobb, I suppose.
He would have been a Triple G. He'd have been Triple G every night, Dean.
He needs 19 events to get there, and he somehow goes 5 for 5 with 4 runs and 3 stolen bases.
Imagine we were doing DFS, Dean, back and not even that far along. Like, imagine we were doing DFS 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when Hakeem the Dream was dropping quadruple doubles, man, like 10 blocks and 20 rebounds, and that would have been some fun times.
Hassan Whiteside did that. And nobody doing it with blocks. He had a triple double with blocks. Remember that?
He did do it one time, yeah. But some of those guys back in the 90s were doing it every day. They were putting up some monster stat lines, man. So
against plumbers, though.
Who cares? We're talking about DFS, Dean. Half these guys tonight are going to be batting against plumbers.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why plumbers get trapped. No, nothing wrong being a plumber. It's actually a great job.
It's a fantastic job, Dean. Those guys get paid. Trust me, they get paid a lot for doing very little.
What they do is
sometimes,
very. You want to call it little? It's super important though. There's an urgency to it.
Sometimes they have to really work. A lot of times when I call a plumber and he's charging me by the hour, and I watch him in the front yard and he's moping and he's like doing a little
on
the phone. He's got his pipes out. He's sawing real slow. He's taking his time. Come on, man. Pick up the pace. And then he expects a tip, Dean. Like it's the tipping society. You come and you fix the plumbing and you want a tip too. Come on, man.
I don't think they expect tips. I don't think it's gone that far unless I've missed something. Like if they'll probably appreciate it, but I don't think there's an expectation. I'd love to know the batting average. Any plumbers out there, what's the percent of houses that give you a tip? I'd say it's less than 10%. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm curious though. So, Chop, what's your official stance here? Cole's at 44%, Luzardo and Eflin, two good pitchers facing off against each other in a good ballpark. We're looking at 31% Luzardo. Eflin's getting 23%. We look at him on the season, strikeout-wise. I'm not going to tout Pepio. Pepio in a small sample is a 33% K rate and good for him. Luzardo actually has the highest K rate, just barely 27.9%. Cole's at 27%. Eflin 25.7%. They're probably that's a tier, right? Those three guys are in the same tier. The Sierra's pretty similar, 3.66 for Luzardo, 3.69 for Cole, and the lowest one, Eflin, at 3.37. And you're getting a bit of a discount away from Cole as well. How are you prioritizing those three? I assume, you did say all three are in your pool for sure. 44% going to Cole, 31% going to Luzardo, 24% to Eflin. Are you staying with that, or are you kind of shuffling that up a little bit?
Those three guys will be equally owned by me. Like, where would I rank them? I would rank them Cole, Eflin, Luzardo. How much ownership will I have? I'll have equal amounts of all three of those guys, but it'll be under the weight on the field. All three of them will be under the weight on the field.
So what's the biggest stand? Is it like Andre Jackson's getting 19%? I think I feel best about that one, and best is doing a lot of work in that sentence, just because the other options are not spectacular. Wentz, it appears, is going to be the long man for Detroit. They are going to have an opener in Brandon White. It seems almost definite that Wentz comes in. You never know with these situations, but that seems to be the scenario that I'm aware of. I think Fought's not completely crazy if you're running out a bunch of lineups. I believe in the talent. Is he there right now? No, but you see glimpses for sure. I don't really want to pick on the Dodgers, but it's all kind of built into the price, and it's built into the slate, the nature of the slate. And I think Fought is I think he's worth getting more than 7% of. That's where he's currently at. And then if I was running 150, I'd have at least 10 of Brandon Fought, just because he's better than Zerpa. He's better than Vines. Dunning's another guy who's pretty good, good ballpark, and the Mets are pretty gutless, and that the lineup certainly falls off pretty quickly. He's the one mid-tier guy, I guess. We can mention Pepio. I just wish he was a little bit cheaper, but he's fine. He's okay. I think you can roll him out there, but don't expect a ton. But he probably gets here between 8 and 14 points, give or take. the next tier, like who's the one you're making the biggest stand on? You're saving salary, you're spending up with the Braves. Who's your favorite amongst all this nonsense?
Yeah, it's probably going to be, even though I could see taking some stacks against any of these guys, Dean, every one of them you can stack against too and feel like it's just one of those nights like that. But I think it's Joey Wentz, just in case the Yankees just don't show up. He's shown some flashes of having some strikeouts potential. The Yankees are just total tank mode right now. The guy is going to be, I'd say, closer. The ownership is just a projection. We don't know exactly how it's going to end up, but I think in the large field, he's closer to 5% than he is to 10%. And so, if I grab like 20, 25% of Joey Wentz, I'm pretty significantly above the field. And I think that's it. Like, I like Pepio more, but like we're talking about 15% ownership on him already. So just by the nature of it, I'm not going to be super over on that. Or Dane Dunning, Andre Jackson. Do I love Jackson? Sure. But if he's going to be 25+%, I'll still have him, but I won't be significantly over the field. So if you're asking me what's going to be the biggest gap, probably Joey Wentz.
We did get an update, by the way, as far as ownership. Wentz at 12% currently, Cole at 44, Luzardo 31, Eflin 23, Jackson 19, Reyes 18, Dunning 16, Pepio 12. Fott is still at 7. No extremes as far as umpires, unless something's changed. Like I was looking at it earlier today, and I saw nothing standing out. By the way, we do have a fire emoji in Coors, and that's probably one of the reasons why we have a 13.5 total and Atlanta above 8, even though they're facing one of the more respectable pitchers for Colorado, if anything, by default there with Freeland. Fire emoji in Coors, according to the Weather Edge, 13.5% bump in homers in 29 previous games with similar weather. 11 miles per hour, dead center, straight out. The wind is blowing out. 44 is the dew point. I wonder what Kirkwood's dew point model has to say about that. He'll be coming on in about 15 minutes or so, and it's 86 degrees. Anything else as far as weather? Not really. Looks pretty positive in KC from a pitching perspective. Wind blowing in at 8 miles per hour. It's 82, so not scalding. Slight bump in homers in 146 games. Neutral for the Mets in 38 previous games. Nothing really in Detroit. It is 67. The wind is blowing out towards center at 8 miles per hour. All right. By the way, Eric in chat said, let's talk about somebody. Who was he saying was being chalky? Fought is too chalky. No, he's not. Like, it's a 6-game slate, and he's getting like 10% ownership. How is that too chalky? I don't. What am I missing here, Chop? But that's just Eric being Eric, I suppose.
That's just Eric being Eric. That's all that is, Dean.
Steve asked a good question. Why isn't Vines 4K? That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know why he's not 4K. That does seem like he probably should be. Not a very good pitcher throwing baseballs in Coors. I know he's facing Colorado, but still. Anything we miss as far as the pitching questions? Did you have a take as far as Pepio, besides it just being a fun name to say?
I don't think it's all that fun to say, but
no,
it is what it is. Like, if this was tomorrow night's slate or last night's 12 gamer, or or Monday night's 12 gamer, this guy probably doesn't even come up on the radar, because he's more than likely not going to go past 5 innings. He might, but Arizona's not an easy matchup. But on this kind of a slate, sure, he's fine. It's he's going to be owned for a reason, and there's nothing like standing out against him. So he's fine. He's decent. He's strikes out a little bit more than 1 per inning. That's good. You like that ratio. Run suppression just doesn't work deep into games. Probably wouldn't do it for me on a 12 gamer, but on this one, on this kind of a slate, yeah, it's going to make a guy like that jump up.
By the way, Mr. Biggs in chat, that's with a Z. He says he's also in San Antonio there, Chop. So it's a hotbed for DFS players. Bospro wants to know Pepio or Dunning. Similar price points. I think I prefer Dunning amongst those two. How about yourself?
I would say Dunning has shown some massive upside at times this year. And again, I probably would rather attack the New York Mets offense than the Arizona offense. So I would say Dunning, sure.
Chop, we're going to talk stacks in a second. I did want to mention the college football Discord. I want to let people know that is free. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. And I figure you're the perfect person to throw to because I assume you're hanging out there. You're one of the people that, people can ping you or people can just like say, hey, maybe Chop's hanging out. You're hanging out there, trying to figure out some information. You're grounding your lineups for college football, maybe a little bit of UCF tomorrow night. Tell the people why they should jump into the college football Discord channel and say hello, besides just saying hello and hanging out with you. I assume you're there.
Oh, yeah, definitely there. Once it starts like it is now, there every day. It's just why you should be there, Dean, is because unlike we're almost spoiled. We are, as college football DFS guys, we're spoiled by the NFL. Other people take it for granted. An hour and a half before the NFL kicks off, you will get a list of everybody that's active and inactive, and you can do so much work in that 90 minutes, and it's pretty easy stuff. In college, you do not have that luxury at all. So the Discord is the place you want to be. All the news, if we get news, it will be dropped in Discord, and there's no other place around like that. Like, you just have to have it. So I think that's the biggest thing. And then just a lot of times you're just, shooting, about college football, just having some fun. So when it's time for business, we handle business with the injuries. And when it's time for fun, we have some fun. So I think it's probably one of the best. I think it's the best tool. Just the Discord chat is probably the best tool for college football we have.
And the NFL, they know where their bread is buttered. They know there's a certain percentage of people out there, what the reason why they're watching their games. And they have to cater to them an hour and a half, let them know who's in, who's out, that kind of thing. I guess college football, we'll see if they catch on eventually. But as of now, like you said, it's a little bit trickier as far as getting information. Stacks tonight, Chop, pretty straightforward. Atlanta's number one on the board. This is myself, Tim, yourself, SquirrelPatrol. We all have Atlanta number one. Duh. Yankees number two, consensus-wise. I'm lower on them than the field for what it's worth. Dodgers number three. I'm also lower on them than the field. Then Colorado, then Texas, and you gave a little bit of love to Pittsburgh. You're the only one to go off the board to add a sixth team. Talk to me about your favorite stacks tonight.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say, like, I feel a little bit violated that there's guys who are using my name in the chat, Dean, but I have to say the guy makes a good point. It says, have we mentioned about Dean hitting that like button yet? Like, guy makes a good point.
I mentioned it several times.
Okay,
we got that like button. Yeah, we got to let them know about the knockers. We got to knock all this stuff out.
Okay, all right. Well, I hate it when the guy makes a good point and using my name like that, but it is what it is. All right, Atlanta is a given. I like Colorado number two myself. I think like we've talked about, we haven't really talked about the pedigree, which is almost non-existent in the minor leagues. He has some good K rates some of those years in the early minor league days, single A ball and stuff, but he has a terrible xFIP compared to a pretty decent ERA, which means, it is what it is. He's gotten a little bit lucky in the minor leagues. So he hasn't been very dominant in the minor leagues, and that's not good. So I kind of like Colorado tonight quite a bit. That's number two for me. I'm going to put the Yankees number three just because if they're not particularly gutless tonight, if they're not in tank mode, maybe they can do some damage. I put the Dodgers four because the Dodgers are what they are. They're just a really good, high-powered offense. Although I kind of think the Dodgers are Texas. So either one of those, they were interchangeable for me. I wanted to include.
I got Texas. I got Texas clearly ahead of the Dodgers. I can be mistaken. Yeah. That's one of the stands I'm taking.
That's fine too. And I just wanted to include Pittsburgh because they were a low-owned stack. I wanted to highlight in the survey this morning. And like Zerpa, I mentioned him. Can I play Zerpa? Sure, because I want cheap pitchers. I don't love any of them, but I could play him. But Pittsburgh has a lineup that has some really good players in it against left-handers. So I think they are a sneaky, solid stack tonight that can do some damage, and I'll have plenty of Pittsburgh stacks in addition to other teams that have Zerpa in them. But I think we're still waiting on a Pittsburgh lineup.
Yeah, you said has a lineup. There's no lineup for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what
5
the holdup
o'clock,
is.
4:52, and we don't have a lineup yet. But we can assume we're thinking it's going to be guys like McCutchen, Reynolds, Hayes, Connor, Joe, all guys who have had a pretty good history of hitting left-handers pretty well. Like I mentioned in the survey, any of those guys fall in the top 5. I'm on that stack. I like it quite a bit.
You're playing cash games tonight. Connor Joe's probably on there, if not at first, probably in the outfield. Just because of salary cap reasons, in a pretty good spot as well. I saw a question in chat from Jose. I didn't quite understand it. How about the Rockies stack for cash? You're not looking to stack in cash. Like if it happens organically, so be it. Like if theoretically, if salary wasn't a thing, you would have an Atlanta stack just because you can find 5 really, really good Atlanta bats, right? But yeah, the object is not, okay, who do I stack in cash? It's like, let's make the best possible lineup with the best collection of hitters that are best positioned to do some damage. And if it so happens to be like, oh, cool, we got 5 guys on this awesome team because we can make it work. But yeah, you don't really seek out a stack in cash. Sometimes it just sort of happens. That said, how do you feel about the Rockies in general? You talked about liking the Rockies a little bit. And again, the dude they're throwing out against them does not look very good. I'm not really, again, maybe Atlanta is just really desperate for an arm. And what do they care about game 130 in a season where they're looking at the World Series? They can throw a game away in Colorado if they have to. Although they make the same lineup every single day. It's fascinating. I think they have, I want to say Matt Olson and Austin Riley have played every single game this season, which you don't really see. I think both those guys have played every game this year. Not the old Cal Ripken 2161. Is that right? 2161? That sounds right, John? That he took over. I guess he went beyond that. Eventually, he took himself out of the game because he was hurting the team. But just wanted to make that clear as far as cash lineups. Let's get the knockers out of the way, Chop. Because I didn't realize
knockers. Here we go. Well, first of all, Dean, before we even do that, who was it? Hoosiers Hang Banners, I think, asked if there was a BvP suggestion of the day.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I think there was one. Actually, let me refresh
the model.
Let me refresh the model, Dean. Hold on one second. Let me hit enter and run. Oh yeah, it says Kevin Pillar, Dean. So I'm rolling Kevin Pillar, BvP suggestion of the day.
Wait a second. Hold on. What's Pillar? 5 for 11, couple doubles and a homer. Yeah. And the tricky thing with him is that, possible getting swapped out once if a righty comes in, presumably righty will come in. And the counterpoint to that, I kind of mentioned the other day, and he did not get the hook, was that this ballpark is, the outfield is immense in Colorado, and Pillar is noted as a solid defender. If Atlanta's up by 2 or 3 runs, they might keep him around just for defensive purposes.
Dean. I don't know. I'm just giving you what the data says, Dean. I don't know anything about any of that stuff. But you want some knockers, Dean? Let me ask you a question, Dean.
Sure. Are they knockers related?
I'm gonna get personal here, Dean. Are you a member of the Mile High Club? Are you a member of the Mile High Club, Dean?
I cannot. No, I'm not a member of the. Yeah, I mean, is there a card? Is there membership fees? Is there dues I have to pay?
No, Dean, you're not a member. Well, I'll tell you what, Dean.
Do you have a story to
no, just a special little knockers tonight. We're gonna get some Mile High knockers tonight, Dean.
Now I see where you're going.
Mile High knockers tonight. Give me, and I'm going to go away from Atlanta with this. I'm going to Colorado. Okay. 3-5, 3 in the order, 5 in the order. Jones. McMahon, Nolan, Jones. That's my knockers tonight.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Should I ask you back? I feel it's a little forward, but yeah, it's too public for me. It's like the upside versus the downside, and I'm out. That's not that's not for me. Do you have we got the knockers. I guess we got the Juggalo bombs on layaway with Kirkwood. I have to give out a dong or two. Now, typically I like to throw one out, just kind of wet the beak and get the people excited, and then throw a couple more out there in the chat while crunch time is going on. I like Texas. I like the fact that Carrasco's probably coming in for a couple innings, especially if things don't go well for Reyes. It's not guaranteed. Like if he's pitching well, they probably won't need him. But they probably can use him as a bridge if things kind of get ugly. And he gives up a lot of homers too, despite the fact that ballpark is not conducive to yielding homers. Is Corey Seager cheating? Is that like just too much of a cheat code? should I just say? I'll say Nate Lowe. Oh, there you go. We'll take Nathaniel Lowe. But I'm thinking about in the 121. Which you know how in single entry stuff, Chop. You know how in single entry stuff that the chalk gets pushed up even more. I'm thinking about rolling out a Texas stack, like maybe 3 or 4 man, maybe 5 man. We'll see how that works.
Sure, why not, Dave? Sounds good.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I'll tell you, Dave's going to be on in a bit, and something Dave says, he says a lot of smart things, but something that's so simple, and like you don't really, you realize it, but you don't really think about it. It's like, well, you're probably going to lose anyway, right? Like you're probably not going to win anyway, so you might as well be a little bit ambitious, right? So yeah, here we go. We're going to roll out a Texas stack in the 121 on DK. That's the first song. The first song is Nate Lowe. The other two we will go ahead and drop in the Crunch Time chat. Also hit that like button. Yeah, I don't know if we begged and groveled enough, but hit the like button. So, next Wednesday night, I should mention this, Chop. The Pick Six show with John Daigle and Rich Rebar. It's a week away. Get excited if you guys are into football. And I wanted to ask you if the OGs back? Yourself and Noto and Beer, is that going to be a thing once again? It'd be awkward if it's not. I don't know if it is.
The OG podcast has become a victim of the numbers, Dean. We have been canceled. We have been canceled. We were not renewed for another season. Incredible, I know, but it happens, Dean. It is part of the business, and So no, we're not coming back this year, but it has a lot to do with a lot of other content video that we are going to be doing. So, it is what it is, Dean. There's a lot of we're trending in a new direction here for football. In case you didn't know, a lot of props, a lot of betting, and shorter videos and things like that. So we did away with the hour-long podcast, and we're all going to trend now towards more short 45-second videos and all this stuff. They have numbers on this, Dean. They have data on this. They say this is what the people want to see.
Now. I'm sorry,
Dean. You trust me. It had run its course, Dean. It had run its course. It's okay. It's okay.
I enjoyed it. I like listening to it. I think Noto is actually going to be on. He was traded to Kirkwood's podcast. I think he's the third man on that podcast now.
That was the one of those members from Kirkwood's podcast could not come back this year due to some contractual issues with another site. So They were dipping into the OG podcast pool to pull one of us away. And I guess Notorious took the bigger bucks, man, and moved on from us, man. I guess he was a free agent and he moved on.
It's SquirrelPatrol, by the way. It's going to be on later, which is like, that's a lateral move, right? You get Squirrel, you get Cheese. Either one is spectacular. You have Kirkwood as well. You have Roth coming in as well momentarily. We do have some questions in chat before we yield. Oh, wait, I think they're knocking on the door right now. So I guess, Roth, there's already some questions waiting for you. So if you don't mind, and trust me, you're going to be looking for some questions. You got 40 minutes until first pitch. It's a really, really quick, recap of the upcoming slate. I guess recap's not the preview, I suppose is the better word. But Roth, how are things? How's Wednesday evening treating you?
It's good. You guys missed by about 30 seconds. I was going to have to start the show with both babies because the early show is messing up daycare. So we just got the swap off just before we came on live.
I hear that's like the biggest racket, daycare. You got to open up one of those daddy daycares. You make billions.
Oh, it's insane. The money is crazy. But I just meant like my wife wasn't home from work yet. So it was like the trade-off hadn't happened.
I think one of the babies unbuttoned one of those buttons. One of your child's.
I got to see the trade-off behind the scenes.
It was pretty stressful.
2 babies with them.
It was stressful, wasn't it? One on each lap. Oh, it was rough. But we're here. We're good. Baby's dropped. I'm feeling ready.
You got one of those like hangover straps. I don't know what those officially called. A baby harness, maybe? What is that called? What's the official term?
A baby carrier.
Okay.
Of course.
Do they have a dual-pronged one, or you got to buy it? How does that work?
Not that I'm aware of, but I may need to look into that. We'll see.
All right. And all right. What's up? We have Kirkwood.
Yeah, I'm sitting here in disbelief. I can't believe what I just heard. I can't believe that the OGs are no more. I mean, that was my favorite show for years.
I'm more in disbelief that Dean would rub it in my face like that on national syndicated TV here.
Yeah,
I did
it was
apologize.
Really,
I
it
didn't
was
know.
almost, you want to know the worst part is that he DM'd me and I was like, I don't think that they're coming back. And then so he had full warning and he
Freaking
still
DM.
went there.
Show those DMs, Kirkwood. Let's see how good your
I see. I'm a
Photoshop skills
man.
are.
I'm a man with a code. I don't release the DMs. That's the whole point behind DMs. If you want to,
I'm encouraging it though. Please do. Please out me.
But it's if I do you, then others. You know, it's a slippery slope. Can't do it.
The DMs are right next to your 2-point model. I'm pretty sure. I think that's exactly where they're located.
Same computer. Yeah.
All right. Squirrel, you know what? Since I'm being a complete jerk to everybody, Squirrel, we always give you your flowers and we think you're spectacular. But I did drop a Ricky Bobby gift to one of your lineups over, I think it was one of the San Diego final, the Philadelphia final. And you legit went Ricky Bobby. Like I think you got second in one, but you did get last in another. So I'm sorry to hear you got last. But
okay, yeah, that's my thing. My lineup actually started off the morning, like the slate, 0 for 22, and I thought they were going to get totally no hits. They ended up getting 3 hits because the Texas game went to extra innings or something. Corey Seager got a couple hits. Actually, I think a couple games, but anyway, yeah, ended up I think 3 for 27 for the hitters to the lineup. These are I could have picked whatever hitters I wanted, right? I actually went cheap and pitcher. So yeah, finished dead last in the FanDuel live final, but it was not my first time finishing last in a live final. The first time I ever went to a live final, I finished first and last. So that's the way you got to play.
That's spectacular. I didn't know that was the backstory as well. You've done this before, but and also they're front loaded, right? So I'm finishing in the 30th percentile is the same thing, isn't it? I think it is.
I'd actually told. Structure. Yeah, it was really top heavy payout structure, and I had actually told my wife I'm going to finish either first or last, and then I thought that we were going to cut to the clip where I'm getting a trophy and stuff, but no, I finished last.
All right, we got anything else before we start at Crunch Time Shop? Anything else for the boys? Anything else you want to promote? I thought I was trying to promote your podcast. I was trying to be a nice guy.
You're still bringing it up. Just drop it, dude. It's over with, man. I'm trying to get over it, Dean. You just brought it up again. Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm going to go ugly cry in the bathroom now, man.
Well, Chop, you're going to leave the show, but Head Chopper is still going to be in the chat. My favorite new chatter, Head Chopper, who may or may not be affiliated with you. But all right, there you go. Hey, you got to time it just right there, Chop. All right, well, let's start the FanDuel sponsor Crunch Time. It's Kirkwood, it's Squirrel, it's Roth, myself, and Kura and Chop. Appreciate y'all watching the first portion. Take it away, Roth.
Good stuff. I'm very confused because in the chat we've got a Head Chopper and a Chop. So I don't know who is who, but hopefully we've got the OG, the real one, in there somewhere. We got Kirkwood as well. I don't even know if that's the real Kirkwood, but welcome to it. That is the real Kirkwood right there. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Crunch Time. It's sponsored by FanDuel, two of the sharpest minds in the biz. As mentioned, we got Kirkwood in the house. What up?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm glad this Head Chopper guy, this alternative Head Chopper, loves me apparently. But see, I think people were saying that's my burner, so I feel like he's trying to frame me right now as he's doing it. It's not me. I just want to make that clear. But yeah, nice little slate earlier today. Now we have another one here with the same Braves and Cores to deal with.
Okay, and as I recall, that didn't go great yesterday, right?
Correct. A lot of warning track, a lot of crushed balls to 410 feet center field. But tonight, with that wind blowing out.
There you go. I was just about to bring that up. It's warmer. The winds are blowing out. This is some pretty good hitting weather in a pretty great hitting park. So hopefully that will make the difference. We got Squirrel in as well. Squirrel, how are you, bud?
Good, yeah. This is a kind of a unique slate, so should be a good time.
Okay, very good. Well, we are down for unique, and I think it's kind of a condensed, a smaller slate as well. So let's go ahead and we'll dive into some of the content. Keep in mind, make sure to sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you're in a legal sports betting state, take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets plus $100 off NFL Sunday ticket. Terms and conditions do apply, but a pretty cool little deal there. They are the reason this show is free, and all that they ask and we ask is that you hit us with a little thumbs up. Make sure you take advantage of their promos as well. Who wants to lead us off? Kirkwood, you want to dive into what we're doing on the pitcher side of things here?
Yeah, it's not so cut and dry. So unlike the last couple of slates with the Braves, we've had some cheap options that we felt really good about. Like Reagan's yesterday was just an absolute misprice, and he smashed. And we had other guys that were low that smashed too. Now we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel with especially with some unknowns, with like a guy pitching for the Mets who's 4K, who's probably going to get some ownership because he's 4K. But this is a guy with like almost a 6 ERA in the minor leagues, and has never really done well in the majors. And he doesn't deserve to be up. He's just there because they need arms right now at this point.
Yeah.
Other than that, we work up from there with some other ones, and then we do have some good high end, chalk, I guess, or at least if depends on how you play the slate. But like with Garrett Cole, who's facing the Tigers. Now Cole hasn't been as the same Cole as always this season. I'm sure you guys talked about that every other show, but he's coming off of a massive game with 11 strikeouts against Tampa, just flashing what his ceiling is. And now he gets the Tigers, so that he gets the matchup. So those are like the bet. Those are like the guaranteed points we have. Then from there, we've got like a little bit lower price Luzardo, who flashes. He was supposed to be an ace. He flashes sometimes like he's an ace, but his strikeout stuff has been down recently. And then he's facing Tampa Bay, which in the beginning of the season would have been a dreadful matchup, but they've really regressed lately. So I like him. He's 9,200. It's more about the price. Then we have Eflin right there. And then a guy we'll get to later is the guy like for kind of like the closest to the cheap range that I like the best is Dane Dunning for Texas, facing the Mets. Gets a nice park to pitch in. He's 7,600. He flashes a ceiling. He's not consistent by any means, but he's been pretty good. Especially over the last 30 days. If you look at the last 30 days for K percentage on these guys, Dane Dunning and Ryan Pepiot, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but have Cheese pronounced that name yet? You remember Pepiot?
I believe we like to make everyone French, so that's Pepiot.
Pepiot.
Yeah, Pepiot. Yes. Yeah. We don't know. We make things up here.
Anyway, these are not the warm and fuzzy names besides Luzardo, Cole, and I mean we could even say Eflin is pretty good. Other than that, it's a lot of landmines out there. But I'll be interested to see how Squirrel wants to attack this.
So, what would be your approach on Fanduel? Are you kind of splitting up those names that you mentioned, like a decent, maybe 25% of Cole, Luzardo, the other guys? For me, I like Dane Dunning. I think he's the guy I feel the best about for just that's kind of closer to the bottom end, especially on FanDuel. He's kind of priced nice at 7,700. You can get a little friskier and go down to Andre Jackson. This is another young, not great arm in general, but he's facing the Royals, and he's super cheap. So you could get on board there, but or you could just go Garrett Cole. So, I mean, but it's really, to me, it's like, it's Dunning. If I really need it to get for the bats for Atlanta, I would go Andre Jackson, or I'll just prioritize Cole and play some different bats outside of Atlanta. And hopefully Atlanta does what they did last night. Okay. Squirrel, I want to bring you in here on the pitcher talk. Like, it seems to me like I want on DK, like Cole for the guaranteed upside and points, and then somebody else. But is that your approach, or is that what everybody's trying to do?
So I'm actually going super risky tonight at pitcher, just because I like the Braves bats. Like, I think we're maybe underestimating how good, like what a good spot the Braves are in. Their implied run total is over 8. Like at one point I looked today, it was like 8.25. Wow. Usually like 5 something is the highest implied run total in this league. Like, so this is like maybe 60% higher than that, and there's only 12 teams to play.
I'm seeing it now. 8.21 is the implied run total for them, which is absolutely absurd. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, that might be the highest I've ever seen. Because I think I've seen it like squeak over 8, and I think maybe like in some weird locations, like they've played in some weird ballparks where, like if they're playing in the Little League World Series ballpark or something like that.
The one like down
in Mexico, Mexico.
Yeah, where they had like 2-foot fences. Yeah,
right.
People are still living off that day. By the way, the money they made.
But in normal circumstances, we don't see run totals like this. I think it's a combination of like just an excellent hitting team. You know, the road team, they're going to get guaranteed ninth inning at bats. Like if they, you know, if they are hitting in the ninth inning and they're against the bullpen and they are against a position player or something, like they're just going to keep hitting and hitting and hitting. So like they're in the best spot maybe I've ever seen an offense in, period, in MLB DFS. So I'm going to be prioritizing the Braves, and most of my pitching exposure is going to guys I had not heard of until this morning. Yeah, so I'm going with the super cheap guys, particularly on DK. Like Andre Jackson's only 5,400. He's a little bit more expensive on FanDuel, and then Reyes, the Mets pitcher, who again I hadn't heard of. There's nothing remarkable about him. He's like minor leaguer, but yeah, I mean he's only 4,000. So I'm going, overexposure on those guys. I am playing some Garrett Cole. I am playing some Luzardo. Like if I'm spending up at pitcher, those are the two guys I want. Other than that, I'm going with the really cheap guys.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else we feel that we need to go through here for pitcher? I think we're pretty much kind of walk through that.
There's only 12 of them. And Cole is really the only one that stands out. Maybe Luzardo a little bit. Zach Eflin's would kind of be in an average spot.
Both of you guys are more so tournament players, but if you were playing a cash lineup, what is the safe play there? Is it just to punt kind of and then just get all the bats, or are you supposed to play Cole?
I think the safest play is play Cole. If you're playing a 50-50, play Cole.
Yeah,
that's the best guaranteed point.
Like the bat optimal right now. So Cardi would be on. He would say you play Cole and you play Rays, or else you're an idiot. That's what he would say right now. So
he would say he would very similar to that. I'm glad we got the Cardi mention because I am going Cardi short today. I don't know if you caught all this chest hair that's coming out, but all right. Hey, let's go around the horn. Actually, let's talk stacks. We got to start there. Squirrel, of course. You mentioned Atlanta is the be all end all, but I imagine A, not everyone can afford it, and B, the ownership might be jacked up.
Yeah. So, I think that's what I'm kind of counting on. I'm hoping that people treat this like a normal Coors Field slate, like where there's 14 games, 28 teams, and there's some team in Coors Field with a 5.2 implied run total. So I'm going to go underweight that Coors team because they're going to get a bunch of ownership, and I want to. But their chances of success are not that high. The chances of the Braves' success in Coors Field tonight is extremely high. So I'm going to try to go over the field, which I very rarely do on Coors Field, but I think it's warranted. If you're not going with the Braves, and I will say that a lot of my construction tonight is going to be 5-man stacks with no mini stacks, and so I'm just getting a bunch of Braves in my 5-man stacks that have other teams. The other teams that I like Texas. I like the Yankees and Colorado. Actually, Colorado, is obviously getting the same hitting weather. I don't mind. You can fit in when you play the really cheap pitchers. You can fit in both Atlanta guys and the Colorado guys. And that actually has a little bit of a correlation because if the Braves are scoring a bunch of runs, then Colorado gets to hit in the ninth inning potentially. So which they wouldn't normally do as the home team if they're scoring a bunch of runs. But Texas, the Yankees. I do like some Kansas City a little bit. I think you can play some. Pittsburgh's got some cheap guys that made the lineup, so you can use those guys as well.
Okay. We have Eric in the chat says, "What are your thoughts on the Rays as a sneaky stack? Any interest there?"
I don't have a bunch of interest in Tampa Bay, just because I think the Braves are in such a good spot, and I think tonight is not the mindset. Where you want to be different no matter what. This is kind of the exception to that rule.
Yeah. All right. I love it. All right, Kirkwood, what is your approach here? I mean, you're just loading up on Atlanta.
You know what I do. You know my stuff. So I'm playing the Braves too, and I'm hoping. So the first day, it was like everybody they were pretty owned, Atlanta, but there was a lot of people who faded, and it was kind of it's the first game in Coors narrative and that type of thing. Sure. And then everybody jumps in yesterday because of the fact that they went off the first day and they busted. So I'm kind of hoping that
I think they had like 14 hits.
They had 14 hits and they had a lot of, I'm telling you, warning track, right by the wall, a lot of crushed balls. Just didn't quite make it out. But with that weather upgrade, and I do think this has to be the biggest team total I've ever seen. So I echo that. So I'm using Dane Dunning and Andre Jackson. I don't trust this Mets guy at all, and so that's why I'm trying to find a way to get off of him. I also I like stacking against him as well. I mean, he's just this. It's not like he's some young prospect. This is like a 27-year-old who's not doing well in the minors. Right. But we do the other thing that Squirrel was talking about, Colorado. I love Colorado, the Rocky side. So we're getting another young MLB debut for this kid, Darius Vines, who supposedly has a great changeup, but just a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. So you're telling me you're doing it is the Rockies, so they are not a very good offense, so there is some chance for success. But you're telling me there's this kid pitching his debut in Coors, great weather, great hitting weather, and he's going to be topping out at 90 miles per hour on his fastball. That screams like some trouble to me. So I like the Colorado side too.
Okay. And I'll add that off-speed pitches at elevation don't work as well. So if his best stuff is not his fastball, that is even like another little minus for him.
Exactly.
There's less air resistance, so the ball doesn't break as much. Okay, let's see. Okay, I feel like we have done a pretty good job there. Let's go around the horn. We'll talk position by position, and then we'll get to some of these QQs, a bunch of them coming in. I did actually see one, Kirkwood. If you're playing a Fanduel GPP single entry and you get one pitcher, who are you going with? What is your approach there?
I mean, it depends. I'm not starting with the pitcher. I'm starting with the offense tonight and then trying to make it work. So I have my favorite. So it'd probably be Dane Dunning, because I know I'm going to be playing bats. And I think that we know he has a ceiling when he pitches well. And so that's why I feel comfortable there. I also wanted to make one more point about Atlanta. You might hear some people say how Kyle Freeland, who's pitching for the Rockies tonight, is generally pretty good at like limiting runs. But he's much better against left-handed hitters. And there's only 2 left-handed batters in the Braves lineup tonight. And one of those is Matt Olson, who doesn't matter if it's lefty or righty up there. He crushes everything. So it just gives me a little more feel good for the Braves in this spot. And and on the Colorado side, if this kid is going to get crushed, also that bullpen, the Braves bullpen has been kind of a tragedy lately. So I like that for that reason.
Makes a lot of sense. All right, let's dive into it around the horn. We'll start with some catcher talk, and Kirkwood, you can lead us off in that department, which I assume we're going to a Brave there in the stacks.
Yeah, and we get a little price savings. So this is like the first value bat. Like he's 4,100 value. It's Travis d'Arnaud for the Braves, who gets the platoon against Freeland. For the exact same price, you can go on the other side and play the Rockies, who's batting cleanup, Elias Diaz. We can also play Mitch Garver tonight for just 300 savings at 3,800. He's batting 5th against that Mets minor league pitcher we were talking about. And then there's still some good options from there too. Like Jonah Heim could hit a bomb. Salvador Perez could hit a bomb. Even Endy, and for the cheap side, Endy Rodriguez is 3,200 for Pitt. And I do kind of like Pitt in this game against Zerpa and the Royals. They're one of my I think they're kind of my sneaky stack tonight. I don't know how sneaky anybody is.
Yeah, Eric in the chat says, "Ugh, weird Pirates lineup." Was the lineup dropped before that, or did that just come out?
It just dropped, so let me double check it. I think it looks pretty good, to be honest with you.
I think like Palacios isn't starting, and I don't think we expected Endy Rodriguez in.
Yeah, but he's batting. So you're getting a 3.2 catcher batting cleanup. But it is. I like the lineup. Looks good to me.
Yeah. Okay, all right, that's fair. Squirrel, let's kick it over to you. I want to talk catcher. I did get this comment. I want to read it real fast from Bryant Judge. He says, "Hey, I stopped watching for a bit. Glad to listen again. I listened this morning, hit 4th in a GPP single entry. Small money, but your advice helped. Hey, all money is good money. We're happy for you. Congratulations. Glad you're watching again, and glad that you did pretty well in the morning slate. We're gonna run it back. We're gonna do it again. Squirrel, what are we doing at catcher?
So I just checked, and my highest projected hitter at every position except for shortstop is an Atlanta Brave, and almost every position my highest owned player is an Atlanta Brave. So yes, Travis d'Arnaud with the Braves is my highest projected, but I actually do have a little bit more Mitch Garver than d'Arnaud. So they're just about equal. And then right after them, it's Elias Diaz, and then Jonah Heim, I think, is a good pivot off of Mitch Garver if you're doing a Texas stack.
Okay, great. How about first base?
So first base, Matt Olson, of course, and then right after him is Freddie Freeman. You can tell how expensive these guys are that I'm spending down at pitcher in a lot of lineups. Toglia, and then Hunter Goodman at first base. I think Goodman is first base eligible on DraftKings. And then if you're looking to save some money, Vogelback with the Mets at 2,300 on FanDuel, or Toglia.
Okay, great. Kirkwood, your thoughts at first?
Yeah, like all the same guys. Olsen is the one guy I'm fading just because of price and positional scarcity. So I think I can get some home run upside for cheaper, and just hope he doesn't go off. So he's the one Brave I'm sacrificing personally. But I like Hunter Goodman, Nate Lowe, Connor Joe leading off 3,300 against Zerpa. He's been swinging a good bat lately. I like that. Obviously, Freddie Freeman, you can always play. And, I I always like this move by Cheese. He always talks about, so say make a Matt Olson stack, with your Braves lineup, and then just take Matt Olson out and stick Freddie Freeman in and hope Matt Olson busts and Freddie Freeman hits a homer and the other guys come through. And that on a 6-gamer with a lot of ownership that's going to be concentrated, I think that's a strong way to play.
Yeah.
And then I'll mention, just Dong Hunt. So Pete Alonso.
Sure. Okay. All right. How about second base?
Sorry, just let me throw in Nolan Jones as first base eligible on FanDuel, and I left him out.
Okay, very good. Kirkwood, what are your thoughts at second?
Ozzie Albies, I think he finally comes through tonight. He hits lefties much better than righties. I think this is his game. Mookie Betts is probably the best hitter in baseball right now. That's debatable, but he's definitely right up there. I think he's got the highest WAR on the season, but you can always play Mookie, but he's a good pivot there. Like the same kind of theory if you want to sub him in for Albies, try to make your stack different. Marcus Semien is another high end. So we got these massive high end guys that are expensive, but they all have a solid upside. And then for some cheap guys, Gleyber Torres is 4,400. Brendan Rodgers is 3,300. Peguero on Pitt on the Pirates is batting 5th, second or shortstop eligible for 2,900. Play him, but those are my guys.
Okay, Squirrel, what are you doing at second?
Yeah, so Ozzie Albies, I've got projected way above everybody else. He's a switch hitter, but he hits left-handers much better over the course of his career. So then it's Mookie Betts. Normally Mookie Betts would be my highest projected hitter, but tonight it's Ozzie Albies over him. Ryan McMahon and Marcus Semien are the high end guys. If I am really looking to save money, maybe Oswald Peraza or Samant Taylor.
Okay, fair enough. How about third?
Third base, again, Austin Riley. He's a right-hander. So the Colorado pitcher is Kyle Freeland. He's a left-hander. So prioritizing the Braves right-handed bats, but I do like Max Muncy as well, Ryan McMahon, and then if I'm looking to spend down, Michael Garcia with Kansas City.
Okay. Squirrel, what are you doing at third?
Wait, that was me.
God dang.
Kirk,
what
sorry.
are you doing?
Yeah. I'm gonna be playing Austin Riley. If not Riley, it's McMahon or Muncy for the home run upside. And then one guy who might there's just anyone that's home run, as monster home run upside you want. So that would be Paredes for the Rays against Luzardo, or even a Jake Berger on the other side. It's not the best park by any means for power, but these guys certainly could hit a home run for a much cheaper price.
Yeah. Okay. How about shortstop?
All righty. Orlando Arcia is on the Braves. He's going to be the top owned probably. He's fine. Tovar on the other side, batting second. I kind of prefer him, I think. I think the Rockies do put up a bunch of runs in this game. Volpe is batting fifth for 3,600. We can always play Bobby Witt. You can. I don't know how you click Corey Seager. How much Seager are you going to have, Squirrel? 6,700.
Let's see. So yeah, about 20%.
Wow, that's strong. 6,700. It's interesting. But yeah, those are all the top guys. There's a bunch of good ones in here. Lindor, I didn't mention.
Yeah. All right, Squirrel. What are you doing? Apparently 20% of overpriced Seager.
Yeah. So yeah, Corey Seager, because I'm spending at 10,000 on that pitcher.
Right.
So yeah, Corey Seager, Tovar with Colorado, and then Francisco Lindor, Bobby Witt, just all the expensive guys. If I'm really looking to save money, Kike Hernandez with the Dodgers or Piguero with Pittsburgh.
Very good. All right, we still have 11. I don't know, what do we got here? Yeah, 11 or so minutes until lock, so plenty of time. But let's dive into the outfield. Squirrel, what do we like there?
So yeah, Ronald Acuna, obviously Braves right-hander leading off. But then even after him, I still have Marcell Ozuna ahead of everybody else. He just hits left-handers really well. If I'm not going with the Braves, I'm probably going with a Colorado guy, Nolan Jones or Charlie Blackmon. And then I do like Adolis Garcia with Texas. Like Kirkwood said, like go home run hunting. I think he's got a good chance of a home run tonight.
Nice. Kirkwood, what are you doing there in the outfield?
Acuna, Big Ron, you're in the lineup. Ozuna, you're in the lineup. From there is where it gets interesting. You can definitely play Pilar at 3,500, but you could get a pinch hit risk there if they bring a righty in and they decide to go to Rosario. And he's one of Chop's BvP suggestions of the day. So I know that people love to hear that.
Is that a chop or knocker, or is that a different?
No, Chop has a few things. So he has the knockers. He's trademarked the knockers. And I don't know if you saw this one, but he hit his first big fat knocker last week with Daniel Vogelbach. That's what he.
Chop. Kills me. Okay.
But then he has BvP suggestions. He's not calling them locks. He's not calling them, they're just suggestions.
I like that. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's try to look for some cheap bats to round out the lineup, the big spends there. And that would be like guys like Tommy Pham, bottom of the order cores guys like Doyle. Nolan Jones is kind of a mid-range guy that Squirrel just said that I really like a lot too. I really like Connor Joe leading off 3,300. Definitely reasonable. Nelson Velasquez is at 2,900, batting fifth for the Royals. James Outman at 3,100. All I'm trying to do here is search for home runs for cheap prices to try to balance this out. And another guy who kind of fits that mold would be DJ Stewart on the Mets, even though he's going against my pitcher Dane Dunning. But he's got pop. He's 2,700.
Okay, that's fair. The OMG father says, hey, we got to smash that like button in here. And that is true. Not for us, but for you, because we're trying to keep this show free for as long as humanly possible. We need eyeballs for our sponsor, Fanduel. We need likes. We need subscriptions. So make sure you hit that like button for us, for you, for everybody involved. Any of those likes will help. Hey, Brandon Rogers was scratched for the Rockies. We just got this in. Alan Trejo will bat 8th and play second base. Does that change things?
I wasn't playing a ton of Brendan Rodgers. I think if you need to, I think you just swap from Rodgers to Trejo. Trejo's like not as good of a hitter. So I'd maybe try to go with one of the other Rockies guys, depending on where you're playing Rodgers.
Okay, fair enough. That works. Kirkwood, you getting him out of your lineup right now?
He wasn't in my lineup, but he was going to be popular. So what Squirrel said.
Okay, make sure he is out of those lineups, ladies and gents. We need some home run calls, and I realize this is, fairly obvious and easy in in Colorado is where I think a lot of these names are. But Squirrel, you can pick the obvious stuff, or you can pick something a little sneaky. Your choice.
Yeah, I'll go just outside of Coors. I'll go with Mitch Garver and Adolis Garcia.
Okay, excellent. Kirkwood, you got a couple names for me?
Yeah, I'm going to take Ron Acuna and Austin Riley as off the board. No, those would be the ones I would definitely take if I had to just pick them. But let's say let's go Will Smith at the catcher position for the Dodgers. Let's look for some Dodgers. Will Smith, and I'm going to say my guy Freddie Freeman.
Okay, that is fair. We have 8 or so minutes. Let's get into some QQs here. The first one that I saw is from We Want Dean. That
Will
Dean
Smith
in
is
all
out.
caps. He says, "Hey Roth, I missed the first hour. Could you please make sure Dean gets proper acknowledgments and shout outs?" Sure, we love Dean. Good work on the first hour, Dean. Will Smith is out. That I imagine changes a few things.
My fault. I didn't catch the lineup dropped.
Okay. Oh, all right. Does you need to get Will Smith out of some lineups?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. All right. That's good. Let's scroll up to actual questions, not just weird Dean Burner comments. Let's see what we got here. FanDuel single entry. Squirrel, I'm coming to you for this one here. Game stack Atlanta and Colorado, or stack Atlanta and Texas with a couple one-offs. I'm playing Jackson at pitcher.
So I'd game stack Atlanta and Colorado. I know you're going to see a lot of ownership there, but I think it's okay. I think it's justified in this situation.
Yep. All right. That's fair. Scrolling up just a wee bit. I'm going to jump into the YouTube chat as well, see if we got any questions there. Mostly just a bunch of comments. My guy Butthole Jenkins says, Kirkwood, is it a weird lineup with no Cabrian Hayes versus left? Oh, it is a weird. That's not really a question either. Not really
We just got Sal Perez was scratched too.
Okay. What does that change for us?
Just he was just a home run upside catcher for 4,100. That looked pretty good, but it makes the matchup for Jackson, for the cheap pitcher Jackson, on Pitt a little bit stronger.
Nice. Okay, very good. Here we go from Cheyenne. Kirkwood, FanDuel GPP 2v2, Simeon Tavares or Albies and Connor Joe?
Albies, Connor Joe for sure.
Okay. Ballpen drawing. Coming to you on this one, Squirrel. DK Cash, Connor Joe, or Hunter Goodman?
I'd go Hunter Goodman. Good.
Okay. Let's see. Hey, get your questions in, folks. Otherwise, it's going to be 5 hours, 5 minutes of just awkwardness. So go ahead. Drop your lineup questions. Drop your dinner questions. Drop your whatever strategy questions.
Yeah, when in doubt, just go to dinner talk, and then it flies right by. You know,
always the move. It's the wife's birthday today, which is why I'm going full Cardi with the fancy shirt. So, gotta upgrade every now and again. Here we go. Head Shopper says, "Can we stack the Tigers?" Kirkwood, any interest in stacking the Tigers?
I mean, yeah, you could. You know, the Yankees could implode somehow, but I mean, that's probably the lowest probability outcome out of anything on the slate.
Okay. I love this question from Steve O. Squirrel. DKGPP, do we dare leave Acuna out of a Brave stack to try to be different? I think I'm interested.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I mean, any one hitter can have a bad night, and I think Acuna will be high owned. So yeah, I think that's a good way to get different.
Okay, cool. What else do we got here? J Sam says, Squirrel, I'm coming back to you here. Do you think Jackson will pick up more ownership than he's showing on Lineup HQ, parentheses 7%? And if Atlanta is picking up all the ownership as they should, do you think he's the way that most people will go? I think that's a smart question as well.
I think his ownership will be higher, but yeah, I mean, I think his ownership will be higher. But I still think it's worth playing the Braves. If you want to play somebody else at pitcher and you can still get the Braves, then fine.
Okay. Rocky Raccoon says, Kirkwood, do you love Andy Action Jackson and Judge Judy, or Crocodile Dunning and old Oswald Peraza?
So, sorry, the first one was.
I don't know. Andy Jackson and
Yeah,
Judge Judy?
I don't know. Oh, so that's Aaron Judge, right? Is that what he's?
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, I
good.
like that. I like that
Yeah.
option.
All right, there you go.
But more people want to know who's the Squirrels. Feel it in your plums.
Squirrel, who does your feel it in your plums play of the day?
I'll actually go with overpriced Corey Seager.
Oh, whoa! All right, there we go. That you got to feel it in your plums to click that button at that price. NBA DFS says Kirkwood, FanDuel Cash, Joe and Corey Seager, or N Jones and Stanton.
Let's stick with the Seager there in the first option.
North Carolina Big Hurt says your favorite stack in FanDuel single entry. I feel like both of you guys just like going overweight on the best stack in the house. That's going overweight in Atlanta, right?
I mean, I think you can go Colorado as well.
Okay. All right. That works. What else do we got? DK GPP Squirrel. How much Pittsburgh do you have? And are they full or mini stacks?
I think you can use them maybe more as a mini stack because they have some cheap hitters. So, and there were a couple guys, I think it was like a Brian Hayes and Josh Palacios that are not in the lineup. So I like some Pittsburgh, but more as a mini stack.
Okay. Your favorite contrarian stack FanDuel single entry. Kirkwood, if you're not playing Atlanta, who do you like that's a little lower owned?
I mean, Texas would be my next favorite, but if you want to go off the board, I like this Pittsburgh 1 through 5.
Okay, great. Falcor says, Kirkwood, can I fade Atlanta and stack Dodgers and Texas playing Jackson at pitcher on FanDuel?
I mean, you absolutely can. I mean, that's totally a path. The Braves could implode tonight and not do anything and be a major letdown. I'm personally playing the Braves because I think that they're just so much superior, just like Squirrel said. But, I mean, it's definitely a vibe. I mean, the Dodgers are a high upside offense, right? So you can always play them.
Okay. Question from Aside for you, Squirrel. We've got just a couple minutes until lock. Between Jackson, Zerpa, Reyes in FanDuel Cash, who do you feel is the least nauseating between the three? He's going all in on cores. He needs the savings.
I'd go Jackson.
All right. Great. Butthole Jenkins says, Kirkwood, we got Squirrels feel it in your plums play of the day, but we need your feel it in your plums play of the day. Who's your guy?
Yeah, it's just going to be my pitcher. It's going to be Dane Dunning.
Oof. Wow. Okay. All right.
I feel it. I just feel it.
Feel it in your plums, man. That's what matters. DePrince, Kirkwood, Miguel Garcia, or Nelson Velasquez?
I actually like the home run upside for Velasquez.
Okay. OMG Father says Vines and Jackson. Squirrel, I'm coming to you. Vines and Jackson get you a Pitt 2-man with a Goodman 1-off. That wasn't really I don't know. That wasn't a question, but okay. How about this one? Greg says your best DK pitchers. Squirrel, your favorite 2 pitchers on DK. Best is a little subjective because Cole would be the best, but we can't afford him and the bats we want.
Yeah, so I'll go with Andre Jackson, and I'll go with Reyes with the Mets, just because like 4,000 is super cheap, and we don't know how long he's going to go, but at 4,000 he doesn't have to go long. So.
Okay, great. We're coming up on lock. In fact, I do believe we just hit lock, but I did get a question about my boy PFAT. So Steve O says, Kirkwood, DK GPP, what are your thoughts on using PFAT to get different in those lineups?
It's a tough ask against the Dodgers. I mean, to be honest, yes, anybody's in play. If we're talking about playing these guys, Rays and Jackson, then and PFAT isn't that much more expensive, and he has more pedigree for sure. But it's against the Dodgers. But I say sure.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Derek says, "Hey, what was Squirrel's feel it in his nuts? His Squirrel Nuts play was Corey Seager. That was his." Feel it in his plums, aka the Squirrel Nuts play of the day. Hey, with that, we have surpassed lock. I've got dinner to attend and a wife to woo. So for Kirkwood and for Squirrel, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.